All right, welcome to Now This Is Podcasting. I'm your host, Connor. I'm my co-host, Jaden. And former guest, Calvin.
It's good to be back.
We're doing like a little combo today. We're doing Evil Dead Part 1 and Part 2, or Evil Dead and Evil Dead 2. That's a weird way to say it.
Yeah, or Evil Dead 1 and Evil Dead again.
That's the best way to describe it. It's so weird. It's like Sam Raimi made the first one, and then he waited a couple of years. He's like, you know what? I need to reboot this franchise.
Yeah,
Like
what's it's like, what's in desperate need of a reboot?
Yeah.
My only film that I made.
It's so odd, and I think that's kind of why we wanted to do these two together, is because it's hard to talk about one, especially talk about two without referencing
the first one.
They're the same movie, and so we'll try to pull some distinctions between them. But I think essentially you could, it's almost like shot for shot the same movie.
Yeah, just watch the first one.
Yeah. I mean, it depends on what you're coming for. Like, if you're coming from, if you want a bad movie that's just bad because nobody's good at their job, watch the first one. If you want a bad movie that's aware of it and tries to play up the camp in a self-aware way, but is still bad at doing it,
Right.
watch the second one.
Yeah, I think it depends on the mood you're in, because you'll get the same story, just a little different tone to it, I guess.
One of them is infinitely more quotable than the other.
I suppose that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess just first impressions, Jane, what do you think?
I love these movies.
We just bashed
Yeah.
I was not expecting you to say that.
I do. I've very much enjoyed these. They're fucking terrible.
Is there one you like more than the other?
Yeah, I like the first one way more.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Calvin, what do you think of these?
Well, they're both made in the 80s, so the bar is already, I mean, I don't know how many times we have to say it until I get proven wrong that there's a movie that exists in American cinema in the 80s that is anything other than mediocre. I don't know if it exists, honestly. It certainly doesn't exist in horror. They're all just bad, but just for the sake of spectacle bad, impractical things here. And that's the same thing. I think the most interesting thing that happens in the first one is just the fact that there's just pipes gushing with red liquid.
Yeah.
It's amazing to
Wild.
me, watching that. And then the next cut, there's a couple spatters on this sweater and he's clean otherwise.
Right. So I watched, maybe last week, I watched the first one and the second one. It's I viewed them multiple times. I was just watching them again to kind of prep for this. And I fell asleep during the second one, I think. And I woke up and Amityville Horror was on. And it was actually going pretty well. And I was like, what movie am I watching? I was like, there's no way this is Evil Dead. So you say that 80s doesn't have good stuff in it. I watched most of that and I was like, huh. Maybe it's just because I just watched Evil Dead and most of Evil Dead 2. And then I woke up to something that was actually something scary was happening and there was some creepiness to it.
Yeah, you fell asleep during Evil Dead.
Yeah.
That says something right there.
But I'm saying, Amityville might actually be pretty good. I need to go back and finish it all the way. But I'm just saying the fact that I knew almost immediately, I was like, there's no way these are the same movies, because I'm actually kind of enjoying what I'm seeing right now. I these are both stinkers to me. I think, it depends on what mood you're in when you want to watch it. The second one is campy, but it almost, I kind of wonder how the first one was received. And then maybe Sam Raimi was like, oh, maybe people were laughing at it, oh, what a joke of a movie. This is a funny horror. Look at how crappy it is. And I wonder if he saw that and was like, oh, you think that's bad? Let me really turn it up for the second one. And that's essentially what the second one is to me. It's just a much campier version of the first one. I think it's less interesting even because it's I can't, no part of it can I take seriously or even be scared of. There's some elements of the first one I was like, oh, okay, a little creepy. I'm never scared.
No.
But there's
creepy
creepy stuff
funny.
in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say the difference between them two is why he wanted to make this again is because the first one is technically a disaster. I cannot tell you how much I hate the lighting. The number of floodlights that you can see, the number of times you can see a shadow on a wall coming from a light source that is not shown on screen because it's that they just needed so much light in order to light the thing, but they're not using any bounce boards or anything. They haven't positioned the camera in such a way so you don't see the shadow being projected on the wall. It blows my mind that this thing had a budget. This is those are student grade like techniques that we very quickly learned that you don't shoot film that you want to be taken seriously that way. And I think they wanted to be taken seriously in the first film.
Yeah, it did have a budget. It was $370,000.
That's way too much for the skill level.
It all went into floodlights and like stop motion animation.
Yeah, which is the best part of the movie.
I almost think like the dialogue is like so ridiculous. It almost feels like they got all the way up to the cabin and they're like, oh shit, we forgot the scripts. We forgot to actually write dialogue. And they're like, Bruce Campbell, like, how's your improv? And he's just like, fleet flarp. I'm like, oh great. Like,
it's weird.
You're
too,
a
like,
genius.
I feel like they tried to edit it all together too to feel cohesive, but there's like so many weird pauses in it. It's like it feels like no one knew what they were trying to what to do, and they were like, just say the line, and he's like, I don't have a line, and they would just say it, and then it would cut to someone else who's like also. They're like react like you're afraid or something, but they don't really know what they're reacting to. It's so disjointed. Like especially I can't really say especially the first one. They both are. I think the second one is a little more cohesive in like how the characters are acting towards each other. They seem to know that they were in a movie, whereas the second one it doesn't. I don't know. The second one had a budget of $3.5 million, which Sam Raimi had done like 2 or 3 movies in between that, so he must have gotten a little more notoriety, and so he commanded a higher budget, I guess.
Yeah,
commanded.
that's a liberal use of that word. But the first one, this is so interesting to me, had a box office of 2.7 to 2.9 million. To 29 million.
What?
A huge discrepancy in there.
Yeah.
Like, it's somewhere in between that. Like where I don't understand.
Yeah, I guess maybe if you're talking about like video release or whatever, like over the years.
I wonder if that is like it's
because
been
I know
around
it has like
so
a
long.
cult like following now. Like there's a large number of people that love these movies.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just crazy.
Well, this is one of your friends that recommended it, right, Calvin?
Yeah, and
Who do we have to blame?
Oh
for
yeah,
this?
is that? Well, yeah, we have to give a shout out to Kyle.
Yeah, friend of the
Kyle.
podcast.
Kyle.
Thank you.
Kyle.
And the second one made 10.9, which million. Like they have a solid number for that one. And so yeah, I think Jane might be right. I wonder if like like post theatrical release numbers played into the between this and this. Like that's a huge discrepancy. That's $27 million difference.
Yep.
Like how do they not know? Yeah. Do we want to move into I guess some of the? I think there's a lot of shots that are like kind of similar in this. Maybe some that are done a little different. Do we kind of want to discuss those? There's a cool mirror scene in the first one. I mean, there is a mirror scene in the first one that is played a little different in the second one that I think is interesting. Bruce Campbell's looking into the mirror, and then Bruce Campbell reaches out of the mirror and grabs
himself
in Evil Dead 2. And I was like, that's really cool. Like I love I think it's cool when you don't realize right off the bat, like I actually rewound that scene. I was like, I wonder, is there a cut there where it was a mirror and then they took the mirror out? But no, it's kind of like a longer take. And like, so it's some stunt double or some other actor and Bruce Campbell on the other side, like mimicking each other.
Yeah.
And then he reaches out and I was like, okay, that's cool. Like that's a neat shot in this terrible movie.
And also because it's a callback to the first one. Like you feel like you already know because he set up a lot of the shots in such a way that, like, I mean, the fact that he cut off another girl's head with a shovel in the same exact leaping pose outside.
Right.
You've already been set up to think that this is going to be the same shot, and that he turns it on his head is kind of fun.
Yeah.
It's a weird way to think about this because like that's such an interesting idea in film as far as like reusing an exact situation in an exact scene in an exact same movie.
It feels like
and then
it's
doing it
it's like
differently
it's also like just
fun.
as far through the film too. It's like at the exact same place. Like everything is so the same. It's so weird.
Yeah, it's like uncanny valley almost.
What's another scene that's really similar? There's
Obviously
like,
the beheading,
right.
but that's at 2 different points in the film.
Yeah.
Yeah, one's the beginning. Yeah, which is okay. Maybe you guys can reconcile this for me because I don't get it. So they leave the cabin in the first movie. Bruce Campbell brings a different girl back to the same cabin, but he like doesn't know it's the same cabin.
Dude, none of it makes any sense.
I don't think that these movies exist in the same universe.
That's the easiest way to look at it,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like, it has to be.
Yeah, because he's a completely different person. He's kind of meek and weird in the first movie, and in the second movie, he's like doesn't seem to remember that a cabin even existed.
Yeah.
And like he's very like very confusing. I get like heavy pedophile vibes from him because he looks so much older. Like, hey kid, why don't you pour me a glass of champagne?
He even says something. He's like, yeah, because you're a woman. I was like,
Yeah.
Yeah, and
I'll
I'm
drink champagne. I don't care.
yeah, and he's like, well, no, because he was like, because he was talking about like implying like, yeah, you know what you kids call canoodling.
Yeah. Oh, it's so odd. That leads to like another scene where she gets pulled out of a window, which is like mirrors a scene that happens in the first one.
Yep.
There's another scene where I think it's done better in the first one, which is like, you won't hear me say that often because I think the first one might be mostly worse.
Yeah.
But there's like the girl gets lost in the woods.
And then the tree violates her sexually.
Yeah.
It's
Oh, and
disgusting.
did you know like that the vines were actually played by Harvey Weinstein?
Oh, wow.
that makes
yeah,
sense.
that makes
Yeah.
a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Jesus fucking Christ, Calvin.
He reprised his role for Evil Dead 2.
You worked a couple good Harvey Weinstein
Yeah.
jokes into this.
I actually listened to that Midsummer one like yesterday. I was like, oh man, that one's got to get into the Evil Dead as well. I forgot that I made that joke.
You're keeping your continuity here. I love it. Better than this film does. This film series does. I like that scene better in Evil Dead than Evil Dead 2. I think Evil Dead 2, like, it's like you talk about the lighting. It's like they have floodlights on her at some points, and she's being like drugged through the woods. Like, it's really, again, that movie is campy, too campy and over the top. That movie is like self-aware campy to the point that it's not entertaining to me. And like,
Yeah.
that's an example of it where it's like that tree scene, the woods attacking the girl in the first one, like
It's
kind
creepy.
of works for me.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, okay, like that. And then especially when she's like running back to the cabin, it's like kind of a horror trope where she can't get the key in the lock, and then Bruce Campbell opens the door and pulls her in. And I was like, that works. Like that.
Yeah.
That's like a genuinely like creepy part of that movie. It's totally off the walls bananas in Evil Dead 2. I don't think it works at all.
Off the walls bananas.
Yeah, I also don't think it works in the first one though.
Two soliloquies
Yeah.
that mean the same thing.
But I also don't think it works in the first one. I think it takes way too long.
It's very uncomfortable.
Yeah, it's very uncomfortable, but it's like, it's not one of those, you could have all of these cuts where he keeps cutting back to an earlier point in time with each one of them, so they're overlapped. So you're stretching out the screen time of an event that doesn't take as long as we're actually shown. Same thing with the keys. Like, it's like, yeah, we get it. She still can't figure out how a door works. Like, yeah, I know.
Do we have some favorite scenes in this?
I mean, easily mine is the stop motion in the first one.
Oh, it's
I
good,
love that. Like, that's like, I was like, yeah, this movie fucking blows. And I saw that, I was like, I like this movie now.
There's a really, really cool part. It's at the end of the first one where I can't remember which body it is. It's kind of like decomposing.
Yeah.
But it's decomposing slowly, and then at the same time, it's like all this like liquid comes out of
Yep.
its mouth. And I was like, man, how did they do that? Because
Yeah, it's crazy.
yeah, I think that part it's interesting. It's like how it's like a stop motion has to be like one clip at a time.
Yeah.
And then you have like this kind of like liquid flow out. And
All
I
of
was
a
like,
sudden, yeah.
how did they do that? I think that's an interesting shot.
It is.
And even like the stop motion in the second one where he's cut off his girlfriend's head and she comes out of the dirt.
Yeah.
Yeah,
She's like
she's dancing
gyrating.
around. Yeah, she's dancing around like Linda Skellington, and then she just like leaps into the forest, like woo, and you're like, wow, that was the weirdest striptease I've ever seen.
It was a oddly sensual dance.
Yeah, especially considering like how she's already like naked and rotting.
Yeah.
And it's been like 5 minutes.
Yeah, yeah. One of my favorite scenes comes from Evil Dead 2, where Ash is like everything. I think it's the deer's the first thing. The mounted deer head like looks at him,
Yeah.
and then it starts laughing or talking or something, and then everything else starts moving around. Like the lamp is moving and it's making
Yeah.
noises, and then all of a sudden everything on the walls. It's like when you're at like a crappy like diner and they have all that shit everywhere.
Yeah.
It's like all of it started moving around and had a personality. It reminded me so much of a like Pee-wee's Playhouse, but like scary version. It was like so odd.
See, I got like heavy Beauty and the Beast.
Beast, that's what I was gonna say, yeah.
Be our guest, because he even goes to the middle of the room and he starts like he takes like a wide stance and starts like moving up and down, like yeah, like yeah, like that's kind of how I would imagine if all of the cutlery started telling me to be their guest.
Yeah.
like that's what I imagine is going through his head right now.
Yeah.
But
You
obviously,
ever-
like
Beauty and the Beast is way more scary now.
You remember those like
yeah, I'm sorry I ruined it for you.
You remember those like sing along videos when you were a kid and it'd be like follow the bouncing ball and it'd like hit all the words and
Yeah.
you'd sing along with
Yeah.
it. That's what that looks like. It'd be like follow the bouncing head. And it'd be like Ash is about to do a sing along with the group.
That would have been hilarious.
Yeah, I do love the antagonistic relationship he has with his hand. He's like,
Yeah.
give me back you bastards.
Yeah.
Give me back my hand.
So, okay, I have a question about that scene. So the hand crawls away and it's going for the knife. I thought the point was the hand was going to try and cut itself off so it could be free and do its own thing.
I thought it was going to kill him.
Oh, okay. I didn't think about that.
It'd be very difficult to cut itself off.
Yeah. This movie doesn't make any sense, so anything's easy for a hand in this.
I guess that's true.
When I watched it, I was like, wait, he cut it off? Like, that's what the hand wanted the whole time.
Yeah, you've been tricked.
Calvin, did you have a favorite scene?
I liked a little bit about like the with the hand when the hand is dancing around like in the mouse hole and it gets caught in the trap and he's like aha, ha! And then it flips him off and then like he's shooting the wall and all of a sudden it's like gushing blood and like spraying all over him. He's falling over. My other favorite one is like after he goes to the shed and decides to, like transhumanize himself and put the chainsaw onto his arm.
Right.
And then like the light is really harsh on his face and he's just like groovy.
Do we have anything like, I guess, film wise that's actually like redeemable to this? Like not a favorite scene because a lot of this is favorites because of how goofy they are.
Yeah.
There's one scene I actually like because I think it's like genuinely, it's almost really good. It's in the first one where I can't remember who it is. Someone's trapped in the cellar. There's someone trapped in the cellar all the time.
Was it a guy or a girl?
I think it's one of the girls.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. And the camera, it starts like on the ground and it looks like it's being like pulled on a rug or something to like slide the camera over. Like they didn't have like a dolly track or something set up for the camera to slide across. And it's almost good because it's like it passes their feet and then you see like the cellar door and you see like the hands and the eyes creeping up out of it and it just slowly moves past that. And I was like, wow, like I can actually genuinely appreciate that as like a good shot. It's almost good because it's kind of herky jerky because again, it feels like they put the camera on a rug and they couldn't like
pulled it.
They couldn't like smoothly pull it across. It's a little janky. But I was like, it's a good shot. I like that one.
Yeah, a lot of them are herky jerky like that, even like within pans, which is amazing to me that you can make. Like that's one of the easier things to do. But my favorite shot is actually it happens in the second one, where Bruce Campbell gets chased like through the entire house, like including in between like the drywall and the studs, and it's just a really long take of him like every 3 seconds looking back, like oh god, it's still chasing me. Oh, it's still chasing.
It takes forever. Yeah.
It's like it's not. I don't think there's any tension there. But it's just a bit of fun of like those are moments where I'm like I put myself behind the camera. I can think of shooting something like that in school because it's easy to do. It's kind of fun from a formalistic standpoint. It's not necessarily adding a whole lot, but it's like you're like dancing with the character.
Right.
So
I think there's some redeemable stuff. Like Jaden said, like the
I
stop.
wouldn't call that redeemable. I just noteworthy.
Yeah.
It's more what I thought of it.
And like Jane had mentioned the stop motion, which I think it actually looks kind of cool. One of the other things I really want to talk about, we haven't really dove into the narrative because there really isn't much to this. One thing I kind of hate narratively is like both of these movies have like 12 endings. It's like they reach a climax and then it goes again.
Yeah. The number of times that Bruce Campbell gets changed into a demon zombie in the second one.
Yeah.
It's too many.
Yeah, it is too many.
Or he has to combat one of the people in his party again. Like, like this keeps happening. Like
it's also weird that they say like you need to dismember the body, but his hand is an antagonist in the second one. Like, what's the point of dismembering then if it
just does whatever it wants afterwards?
Yeah, now you have more enemies, like because now it's gonna stab you.
Yeah, this is worse than like Lord of the Rings. People talk about that, like Return of the King. It's like, oh my god, it won't end. Like this movie, I was like, oh my god, this will not end. Like I might be trapped here forever watching this film.
And I think both of them are like 84 and 85 minutes. They're not long movies,
but it feels like it.
Yeah,
incredible.
They absolutely feel long.
I also love like before he cuts his hand off, he decides to rinse it off. Like, it's infected.
Yeah.
And it was like they even set up like a sink so that they could shoot like a clear dish so that they could shoot from underneath the sink and you could see him washing it.
Right.
Really unnecessary when it doesn't even make sense with like from a oh, there's a little bit of blood and demon gunk on it.
Yeah.
That one's wild to me. Let's see. When they're listening to the tape recorder and she's like, "Oh my God, my mother's been turned."
Are we talking about the first or the second
It's
one?
the second
Because this
one.
happens
Yeah.
in both films.
Yeah,
Like-
it's in the second one, and she's like, "Oh my, she's down there with him," and she pops out of the ground. She's like, "Someone's in my fruit cellar."
Yeah.
So
Why?
I love how-
Why is that like?
it would have been that would have worked better to me if it was like they come to the realization that there's someone like the mother's down there or whatever. Don't have her pop up out like right after you say that.
Yeah.
Like let him wander around for a minute and then build some anticipation for the viewer. Be like, oh, when is this guy get? Because Ash doesn't know, but we know,
Yeah.
and so like that would be cool. Like let's figure out like let's have a actual tense scary moment. Nope, she just pops out like right away.
Yeah.
It's awful.
Yeah. And then like as she's chasing him out, and then she's trying to grab the one hillbilly guy and pull her down, and Ash decides to start jumping on the trap door to squish her, and then her eye shoots out, and you get the eyeball money
Oh my
shot into
God.
the
Yeah.
girl's mouth. Like,
It's disgusting. So love the part in the first one where like the demon zombie lady, whatever, she's in the cellar, she's just mocking everybody. I love that so much.
That is kind of funny.
I'm like, why is this in the movie? Like, I love it, but it makes me
giving
go,
everyone
yeah.
a hard time.
Yeah.
Like,
It's like, oh yeah, I'm so scared of you, Ash. Like, or whatever.
it sounds like
yeah.
she sounds like a heckler
Yeah.
at a comedy show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it sounds like.
yeah, and then it's just like to the nth degree in the second one when she's just like, "I'll steal your soul, I'll steal your soul, I'll steal
Yeah.
your soul," like goes on and like, and then like dead by dawn, dead by dawn, dead by dawn. Like, where were these phrases in the first one that we found them so necessary to repeat 20 times? They don't feel like they're out of like and I don't even know what you mean by dead by dawn, because night is eternal right now.
Yeah.
What does that
Right.
even have to do with anything?
That's almost as annoying to me as in the first one when Ash's girlfriend is like sitting on the ground and she's just laughing. Like she won't stop laughing. And I was like, dude, this cannot be in the movie. Like it can be like a quick scene.
Yeah.
It goes on forever, which really lends to why this movie feels like it feels much longer than an 80-minute film.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and she's just like, it's not even like it's so annoying too. Yeah, that one really grates.
Yeah. I think we've given this film, we've given two films too much time, I think.
Yeah.
Jaden, what are your final thoughts on this one? And would you recommend it?
Yeah, I would recommend it. Yeah, I think everyone should see these movies.
Because they should learn what a bad movie is?
No, because they're awesome.
I don't understand you right now.
I don't know why I like them, because like they're bad, but I was entertained the whole time.
Are they Velocipaster bad?
No, that's a totally different kind of thing. I don't-
Really?
Yeah, I don't know what it is, man. But yeah, I'm a big fan of Bruce Campbell, like in everything that he's in. Even though like I feel like these are his two worst performances,
Right.
like even worse than Army of Darkness, which if you watch that is
We'll probably end up doing an Army of Darkness part.
fucking wild.
I feel like we can't do part like 1 and 2
To and
without,
not
like,
do the
wrapping
third
it
one.
up.
Yeah, well, and then
All the remakes.
the remake is weird. The show is funny.
Maybe we'll have a whole playlist of just Evil Dead
Just
stuff.
Evil Dead stuff. But yeah, I like these movies, and I think that you should watch them. Like this is my first viewing of them is when we watch them for the podcast, and I have a buddy who's like loves them so much. He has stickers all over his toolbox at work and stuff.
Wow, that's wild.
Yeah, and I'm just like, I watched. I was like, yeah, those movies are fucking wild. He's like, I love them, and because that's how he talks. Like all the time, he's like, hey Jaden, how you doing? Hey, Death Metal Steven. That's his name. He sharpened a shovel. He just
I know
sharpened
Death Metal Steven.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah,
He
I've
sharpened a shovel and serrated the other end in his bay. He just has it chilling. He's like, just in case anyone wants to come up and fuck with me. Like, you have like 4 guns in your toolbox. He's like, yeah. Well, it's with a shovel though.
Yeah, nothing's as intimidating as a serrated shovel.
Yeah, it's crazy looking.
Nothing says I have time to dismantle your body. Like,
Yeah. Or
I've
time
put
that he's
this,
not
like-
working. Like he also has like pentagram ninja stars which are just stars, but he puts them upside down. He makes Christmas cookies every year, and he does like what the men, they're like little Christmas dudes or whatever, and like he has like fake axes and like body parts missing off them and stuff, and like red frosting for blood. Those are clever. But he also has pentagram Christmas cookies, which are just stars. So he's like, you have to eat them upside down.
Yeah, he's like, you're holding it wrong.
So funny. All right, Calvin, what do you think of these? And would you recommend them?
So I think they exist in the same way that Velocipaster exists. Like, get some friends, get some substances. Like, these are not movies to watch. They're movies to like joke around and talk through the whole time.
Oh yeah.
The first one is just a bad piece of filmmaking, which I've heard is actually like worse. They've actually cut like some of their like extras in the back, like crew members, in some shots. They've actually made it seem like it's not as bad as it is, for someone that doesn't know. Like if you don't know how like you actually compose shots and how what a shoot looks like, you won't maybe notice like things are fucking out of focus.
Yeah.
Holy shit, I forgot about how many things are out of focus in this.
Yeah.
They set one focal length, but then they move their characters around in places like, so where they end up they're in focus, but where they start they're out of focus. So no, I don't recommend the first one, especially. The second one is like, it just has like a lot of great lines. Just for that, yeah, like the whole groovy thing. I will say that like the thing that bugs me the most is like the most giant plot hole, like the bridge being out. Like Bruce Campbell's eyebrows are so close together, they could have just used that as a bridge, but like
You could just hop across that. Man.
yeah, but they just ignore that possibility. It's implausible.
That is a huge plot hole. I like that.
Yeah, Sam Raimi needs to really go reboot this one more time.
Yeah.
So I don't know about scores. I'd say the first
I
one.
forgot about that.
Yeah, what do you rate this?
I don't even know. Like, what would? I mean, what kind of score do you want to give this, Calvin? Like, with Harvey Vines, rate Vines. What are you thinking here?
Yeah, like Harvey Weinstein's.
Okay. Gotta work him in another joke.
That makes sense.
That dude deserves to get made fun of.
Yeah.
I mean, do like a whole like a general score of like both movies or like each.
I do each.
Okay.
Because I think that technically they are different movies, and when I mean technically, I mean the way they were shot.
Okay. I'd give the first one a 5.4, and then the second one I would give a 5.3.
Wow.
Yep. Very different.
Yeah.
That discrepancy is almost as big as the budget for or the box office for the first one. What do you put this one, Calvin?
So the first one is like is it worse than Dune?
Dune 84.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Okay, let's
Don't let blasphemy touch these lips.
We've
Like,
done a review on both Dunes now. So.
Yes, exactly. Denis Villeneuve gets nothing but praise. I don't think it's worse than Dune, than David Lynch's Dune, because
which we have a commentary on. That's a good one to check out.
There's 2 hours of my thoughts on that film. If you want to, I don't know if I said something positive. Oh yeah, I mean I love the chia like.
Yeah.
We got really animated that part.
Yeah,
Like, oh my god,
The weirding
there's something
modules
exciting going on. So that movie's terrible. Otherwise, I gave that like a 1.4. This is like a 1.8. It's bad. It's not good. It doesn't do anything that it wants to do. Evil Dead 2. I'm gonna throw that at like a 4.3 just for the sake of like I'm gonna like for the next few months I'm just gonna be like anytime I see a chainsaw I'll be like groovy.
Right. Yeah, I don't think I'd recommend either of these. They're too long. I think if you can come up with maybe like a 15-minute cut of these.
Yeah,
They're both,
absolutely.
They're both
And they need to be
like,
cut
usable.
together.
Yeah. I think they could be watchable in that format. I think the way they were put out, these are not watchable movies to me. There's enough goofy stuff, I guess, that if I saw it in clips, like, yeah, I'm sure there's someone who clipped together all these, like, the funny scenes on YouTube. Go search that instead of actually watching the movie, because this is, to me, neither of them are really worth watching. I don't think either of them are fun, and then the second one is not worth watching because it's just the first movie again. So, yeah, I'd probably put these both at a 2.
Whole number again.
Yeah.
You're never gonna learn.
I'm not even gonna differentiate them, like, because one is not really better than the other to me. They're both bad in their own way.
Yeah.
Yeah. So with that, that's our quick dip on Evil Dead and Evil Dead 2. I'm your host Connor. I'm my co-host Jaden and former guest Calvin.
Thanks for having me back.
And thank you for listening to Now This Is Podcasting.